back from the break. You're watching NewsX and I'm Savadi Jindal. Israel has launched airstrikes targeting central and western Iran in response to missile fire from Tehran, attacks that threatened to drag the wider Middle East back into a regional war. Iranian state television reported that the sound of explosions were being heard in Isfahan, Karaj, Tabriz and Tehran without immediately elaborating. A witness in Tehran described hearing at least one large blast somewhere to the west of the country's capital city. Iran closed the airspace around Tehran's Imam Khomeini International Airport, the country's main airfield, after the Israeli attacks. Iranian officials offered no details on what had been struck, nor any damage information. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard has said that Israel used air-launched ballistic missiles in its attack on Monday morning without elaborating any further. Let's put out some breaking news on that front. Reports say an Iranian missile has made a direct hit on a target in Israel amid escalating regional tensions. The strike comes as missiles exchanges continue between the two sides, with air defense systems reportedly activated during the incident. Joining us to take this conversation forward are Major General Sudhakarji, a defense and senior geopolitical and strategic expert. We're also being joined by Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former diplomat, with us on the broadcast. I'd like to thank both of you for joining us this morning, speaking to us on NewsX. And let me come to Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev on that front. Since April, this is the first escalation that we're watching very closely. What exactly does it mean for the larger, or for the talks for ceasefire that were taking place over this time?
Thank you for having me. Today marks the completion of 2 months of ceasefire between the United States and Iran. Iranians have been demanding that this ceasefire should extend to Lebanon and Yemen as well. But Israel has other ideas. It has continued to pursue the Hezbollah in Lebanon, particularly after April 8 ceasefire, which left it in full command of its military potential, geared against Lebanese Hezbollah, because operations against Iran had ceased. So it has been with that campaign for very strong element of its force, and there have been American attempts to have ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah, but these have not borne full fruits. We have also learned through public media about vituperative exchanges between Mr. Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, but then the escalation seemed to have continued despite Iranian warning that they would stop negotiating with the United States regarding a framework agreement for negotiations unless Israel reverses its attack and creation of a buffer zone in southern Lebanon. In particular, the Iranian red line was about attacks on Beirut, and Israel has conducted such a raid yesterday in southern areas of Beirut, where Hezbollah's main center of operations lie, and in retaliation and to re-establish deterrence, Iranians have struck Israel with missiles. Iranians believe that they need to have a deterrence established afresh after 2 months of ceasefire. And this is also important for them to reconnect with Hezbollah, whom they regard as their very faithful ally, fighting Israel on its own. Americans are alarmed that this uh, may get out of hand and lead to complete breakdown in negotiations. Mr. Trump and his cabinet members have been talking in terms of deal with Iran being very close. Mr. Trump yesterday claimed that it could be signed by Wednesday in the next 72 hours time. But then Mr. Trump publicly mentioned that he has asked Mr. Netanyahu not to retaliate against Iranian missile strikes. Mr. Netanyahu nevertheless have retaliated today. So it sets a new benchmark in escalating viral of uh, tit for tat retaliation between Israel and Iran. And we'll have to see whether it will be called off
Right.
at this stage, but or would it lead to further escalation?
Absolutely. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Latest visuals coming in from Tel Aviv as Iranian missiles hit the Israeli capital. This comes as the Middle East moved closer to another major escalation after Israel launched airstrikes on military targets across Iran, hours after Tehran carried out its first direct missile attack on Israel since April ceasefire. Major General Sudhakar ji, let me come to you and thank you for your patience. I'd like to understand from you, we're seeing overnight retaliation, we've seen attacks, we've seen it all. The visuals tell the tale. But I'd like your perspective over here, because what exactly does this mean? How are you viewing the retaliatory attacks? And do you think this war is perhaps going to go on for longer than we had imagined?
Yes, yes. Asabri, good morning. Thank you for taking me for your show, and my warm greetings to very accomplished and distinguished ambassador. My take on the whole issue is that this is not retaliation. It's a trigger offered by Iran. Iran has opened fire on Israel. And I'll not qualify it by saying whether Iran was provoked to do this or not, but it is against the basic demand that stop the attack against the Hezbollahs. So since Israel is not to stop, when you talk to Israel, they say that how can they stop attacking Hezbollah when Hezbollah is attacking Israelis? So it is a very vicious kind of a cycle, causal loop. The cause becomes an effect, effect becomes a cause. It's very difficult to identify and pinpoint as to what was the trigger which started after a hiatus of, say, like Ambassador said very nicely, for 2 months, good, bad, ugly, some form of ceasefire was there. What has actually made Iran to fire? Iran, in a way, is conveying a couple of issues. First and foremost thing is very smartly clubbed, in my opinion. It's a very smart movement by Iran. They have clubbed firing on Lebanon with the peace proposal. Lebanon is a place where the Hezbollahs are there, 2,200 kilometers away from the conflict zone of Iran and Strait of Hormuz. So, in my opinion, giving my sense as a military man, such kind of clubbing of objective or agendas with an interset distance of 2,200 kilometers, geographical separation is not tenable. Why am I saying it is not tenable? Because what is relevant to Netanyahu over that distance may be irrelevant to Donald Trump, and hence may or may not be of relevance to Iran. But in the instant case, it is very much relevant to Iran. So they have done it in a way that Donald Trump is lured into the trap and now he is trapped. So I call it as escalation entrapment. He will find it very difficult to come out of it. Second point. Second point is that by Iran has been telling, this is after firing at Israel has come after having hit Bahrain and Kuwait. Bahrain and Kuwait is linked with one of the vessels, one of the tankers of Iran was hit by Americans. And when you ask the Americans, why did you hit the tanker? They said some drone of so-and-so was coming to hit one of the vessels. So likewise. So that was the trigger. Thereafter, Americans have gone into carry out aerial strafing and bombing between Kag Island and Kamish Island yesterday. And it's a intercept separation distance is around 400 kilometers. But anything happening in and around Kamish Island, it is directly impacting the entry point, that is the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is a small little island, 8 kilometers away from Kamish Island. Kamish Island is spreading over 135 kilometers. And when you talk about the Strait of Hormuz, it is not only that tiny island, it covers an area of 145 to 190 kilometers along the coastline. Thereafter, the mountains start. So this is the layout of the ground. But what has happened is that earlier, in the past 40 days of conflict, which ended on 8th of April, we have witnessed to majorly the conflict on the continental portion. Now we see that the conflict had shifted to the seas. The war in sea is different from the war on the land. On sea, you have massive objects, huge targets. There are costly ones, destroyed costing anything between $4 billion to $14 billion. You have frigates, anything between $6 to $12 billion. Likewise. So these are very heavy stuff, and Iran has got a coast guard, it has got anti-shipping missiles, it has got state-of-the-art hypersonic missiles also deployed there. Kamish Island has been converted from a tourist island into a kind of a defense establishment, 500 to 600 meters under the ground, underwater. They have tunnels connecting them. So they are all prepared. And Strait of Hormuz is in tight control of Iran. So my sense is that Iran directly, indirectly has conveyed to USA, please scale down if you want to make a deal. Do not insist on the enriched uranium. Do not insist on Iran not having the nuclear infrastructure. Do not insist on, basically they're saying that JCPOA 2015 was a well thought through
Right.
kind of a agreement, and there cannot be anything better than that. And my sense of the whole thing is that by and by, Iran will be hardening the stance. If at all they have a deal, that deal is going to be a tougher one for United States of America to accept. Last but not the least, is the Strait of Hormuz. At no stage, if I have to put my feet in the shoes of the Iranians, Iran is unlikely to forgo or go back to the original status of Strait of Hormuz unless
Absolutely.
the strait is made irrelevant. How do you make it irrelevant? When you come back to me, I'll explain.
All right, sir. Absolutely. Just give me a moment. We have Mr. Eli Natch, Deputy Mayor of the city of Ashdod, Israel, joining us at this point in time. So thank you for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX. And I'd like to understand